how much time did you guys spend this summer, the first few weeks of practice, looking back at film from last season, whether it was, watching, disappointing games that you wanted to learn from, or watching kind of the best games to see what you can carry over into this season?
We did most of that back in the spring. After the season was over as a staff, we went back through and said, okay, this is what we liked, this is what we didn't like. These were the games that we performed well in. And then once that was finished, then we formulated what we're going to try to do with this ball club. Now, we aren't going to change a whole bunch, but we do know that, okay, we don't have Maisha that was pretty dominant in the post, so we might have to be more guard-oriented at times. Kylie is more of a perimeter player when you look at her over for her first 2 years. So we have been working on trying to get her to score more in the low block, which we're going to need. So it was more so just trying to figure out back in the spring, okay, what could we have done differently? What would we like to see us change, and where we planning to go?
What do you see from Evans this year? She really came on at the end of last year.
Yeah, she's worked on her game. Her 3-point shot is much better. It's much more consistent. That's one thing that was it was a challenge for her. When you go from taking 25 to 30 shots a game in high school to now you're going to get maybe 6 to 10 in a college game, you've got to be efficient. You can't take bad shots. And that's just not for that's for all players, because that's their biggest challenge. You go 0 for 8 in high school where you're getting 15 more shots. Now all of a sudden I go 7 for 8. Well, I'm right back, I'm having a good game. Well, you're 0 for 8 in college and you're taking bad shots. The odds of you getting eight more shots aren't very good. So you've got to make sure you're taking the opportunity to take good shots. I tell them all the time, if you shoot 50% or better from the field, you can shoot it from wherever you want, whenever you want. I don't care. I don't care if you get it and you cross half court and shoot. You will stay in the game. Because the odds of you shooting 50% if you do that are slim to none. So I tell them, you shoot 50% or better. I don't care at what point in time in the shot clock it is, you can shoot the ball. Or from where. And they're all realizing and figuring out that, man, okay, this works. So now they're not taking bad shots. Because they all want the green light. So it's worked out for us.
This might be the most similar that your team has looked the year after Final Four to the year before in terms of just same kids on your roster. Do you think that helps in getting back there, that continuity?
Well, 13-14, we returned all 5. That's the one, and we added a few. So that year is comparable to this. And it's going to guarantee anything? No. That's when you get down to when you're in the Elite 8, Final Four, you're in the semis in championship game. Everybody's so good, and this is just my honest opinion, that it's not always the best team that wins. It's whoever plays the best that night. And you're going to need a break here or there. Ball goes off somebody's foot and they give it back to you. Something in that terms will dictate a game at times because everybody's so good. But we are excited. We're excited about what we have returning, what our incoming freshmen and Yassine is going to be able to add, because we do have a really good nucleus of our team back. And they were all a big part of it. It's not like you've got 4 players back that really didn't do anything. They all had a significant impact on our ball club.
Well, easy might not be the right word, but when you have your staff, each year you have the same staff, does it make it a little...
The continuity is great. Yeah, because we all know what to do. Like, I can sit here, and if we go over and we're starting practice, I don't have to worry about it. My staff knows exactly what to do. And I'm obviously not going to be coaching that first game of the NCAA tournament. So it'd be great to have Steph, know what she's doing. And Sam Purcell. It's nice.
It was getting past this year's tournament hard, and those other years you went to the Final Four in terms of you had a team that could easily come.
Oh yeah, it sucks. There's no other word for it. There's actually a few more words for it, but I don't want to say this. I told my wife I'm gonna try to get better. No, it's never going to. It always stings. It always, you sit there and you go back and replay everything. Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough pill to swallow. It's one that, it shouldn't come down to that last play. You can go back, and this is why I tell everybody. Everybody talks about the last minute and a half, the last two minutes of a game. And it's like, I can go back to the first quarter and show you when we missed a layup, or when we didn't switch on a screen and we gave up a simple layup. That if you do that back then, you're not even worried about this last 2 plays of the game. But yeah, it stings. It's tough. I mean, our kids, we felt good going into the Final Four. We felt like we had a chance to win it, as all 4 teams did. I mean, obviously, it's without a doubt, I don't think anybody can argue the best Final Four in women's basketball that there's ever been. 3 games. I mean, yeah, you could go back and play that again, and any 4 of us could have won. Where in 09 and 13, you could play it 100 times, and UConn was going to win. I mean, this was a year where all 4 teams and anybody had a chance to win.
Has it been good for the game that UConn hasn't won the last 2?
Well, no, I mean, it's not bad for the game. I mean, even if they have won, because I think I'm not a believer that, like, everybody talks about it's bad for the game, it's bad for the game. So is Alabama not going to play anymore this year in football? Because they must be awful for the game. Because every game I watch, it's like 56-3, but everybody seems to keep watching it, and they all say what an unbelievable coach Nick Saban is. He's phenomenal. He's the best. Well, Gino's done the same thing. So I don't. To me, stop saying it's women's basketball, because it's college football too, and I think it's men, right? It's a men's sport, I think. So why isn't it bad? Because it's a men's sport? But it's bad on our side because it's women's basketball. Who wants to watch that? Who wants to watch Alabama? I do. I think it's impressive. I think it's amazing. I had the same feeling when I was watching UConn play. I mean, because I think it's impressive. Every night they come out and do what they've done. Now recruiting's starting to change. Like more players are going to different schools. And it's, now it's like, hey, they've got some good players too. I've got some good players. And it's not like he's always got the best player every single year. He does a great job with his players. So, is it good for the game? I think it's good for some people because some people like to see something different. But, it wouldn't have, it's not like it would have crushed me if it's like, oh, they won again. Well, no, they have to show up and play too.
Got time for one more.
I'm sure I'll get yelled at for that for some reason. Who knows what I just said wrong?
But you mentioned that you're
I don't even know anymore half the time.
Join the club.
You mentioned that your goal is national championship. How many teams in women's basketball can that be a realistic goal for to start this season, you think?
I can easily think that there's probably 10 to 12 right now when I look at rosters. I mean, when you look at teams. And the thing about it is you go back to 2009, 2013, we weren't in that 10 to 12. Nobody thought we had a shot. So I say this all the time. It's why college basketball, and I could be wrong because I don't know the ratings. Like men's college basketball, you look at this time of year when it gets to March, it's one of the most viewed sporting events in the world, is it not? The Final Four. I mean, just March Madness. It's because anything can happen. You look at the upsets you get. It's not a best of 5. It's not a best of 7. You go best of 5, best of 7, and all of a sudden, somebody might upset somebody one time, but normally your best team is going to win. There's no doubt about it. I've got, even in women's college volleyball, what, in my opinion, what's changed their game was when they went to 25. When it used to be you could only score on your point, on your serve, the best team won just about every single time. because you had to actually, you could only score on your serve. So you had to earn it. Where now it's rally scoring, and all of a sudden if I get hot and all of a sudden I get up 22-20, there's a chance I'm winning. So I think it's changed their game also. That it's not always just the best teams going to win. There's more opportunity for upsets. That was deep, wasn't it?
Yeah.
See?
Profound.
I pay attention to other sports.
We'll do team photo, and then